All right, what's up, everybody? Fired up to have, the ace of the Ole Miss pitching staff, Hunter Elliott, a hero from the 2022 College World Series run, joining us. We got Peyton Chotinier and myself trying to blow up some college baseball at Barstool, taking it to the people. And first of all, I just want to say thanks, Hunter, for coming on. You've had quite the journey. How are you?
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. And we're excited to have the 2025 season kicking off.
Yeah, man. Well, so far so good on that. That just kind of, it was like really, really inspiring. Hunter 5 shutout innings, beat Arizona 2-1 on Friday, a top 25 team in Arlington. But man, you hadn't pitched since the LSU series in 2023 in April. How good did Friday feel after all that time?
Yeah, no, it felt really good, and I hadn't pitched really healthy and even longer than that. You know, the LSU game, I wasn't feeling good kind of from the start there. So it felt super good to be back out there. Everything felt good. That stadium there in Arlington and that environment kind of amplified it a little bit. The juices were flowing a little more than they usually do, but I'm sure that kind of has to do with 18, 20 months out of the game as well. But yeah, it was awesome, and it's good to be back healthy.
Yeah, you touched a 4. I don't know if I've ever seen you touch a 4 before. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. I've been working hard with Joel, and we've had the velo just kind of is slowly coming back, or it's come back,
it's
but
back.
It's slowly getting up there. So we'll see what we can do when it gets warm later in the season and the arm's in shape.
Yeah.
I got a question. So you pitched 5 innings. Are you on? Did they have you on a pitch count, like easing you back into this long season?
Yeah. It's not just me. All the starters are actually. We're kind of doing a little different this year. We're doing kind of some piggybacks and stuff like that. So early in the season, it's just 75 or 70 to 75, 80 pitches. And that's kind of how we're going to do it for the next couple weeks. You know, there's no reason to blow it out early in the season and throw all your innings and be fatigued by middle of conference play. So we're kind of a hard stop at 75 right now. And I think it's great. He's got our career and the end of the season in mind when setting that.
Yeah, but if you were to go 75 pitches in 5 innings, like that's still good regardless. So we'll take that all day.
Right. Yeah, I was
3 strikeouts, 3 walks.
Yeah.
The typical, the usual.
We won't talk about the strikeouts. We'd like those to be a little higher and the walks to be lower. But so funny enough, actually after the third, I was like, God bless. My pitch count has to be astronomically high. I was like, is he going to send me out for the 4th? So I come in, I look at the sheet, and I'm at 60 pitches through 3, and I'm like, oh my gosh, why have I done this again? So I sit down and then have a talk with Joel, and he's like, look, you got 2 more in you. He said, you got 15 pitches, but you got 2 more in you. So those next 2 innings, the only thing I was thinking about is trying to make them hit the ball any way I could, put the ball in play, and it worked out a little bit.
It worked out great. That's the stereotypical Hunter Elliott. Like, we joke about that all the time. It's like, he's going to walk the first 3 guys and then strike out the next 3 guys. It doesn't actually happen as often as we joke about that, but that's like, even in the Omaha run, it was the exact same. Like, we just knew, all right, we got bases loaded. We'll be just fine. He's going to get out of it.
Yeah. That's something we've tried to work hard on and put an emphasis on in meetings and stuff. And then it never fails. That leadoff guy's on base and I'm out of the stretch early and often. But no, we're trying to fix that. We're trying to control the pitch count early. And it was unsuccessful the first start, but we'll give it a go again this Friday.
I wouldn't say it was unsuccessful.
You mentioned Coach Joel Mangum coming in from the Cleveland Guardians organization. All the reviews that I've read behind the scenes are just spectacular on him. He comes with a great coaching pedigree. What's it like working with him?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. How I've told a lot of people, it's almost like he's brought like a professional organization here to Ole Miss. You know, we've got a ton of structure. Everybody has like their end goal, their plan set. You know, he's got our eyes kind of set on what we need to do. We're all working on individual things, so he's got everything very individualized. But most importantly, I think he early on just made building a relationship with everybody super important, and I think that's why you're seeing the progress so early and with so many guys, is that he has truly shown us that he cares about us, and that he was worried about the relationship first before anything else. And he's been incredible.
So going into this year, I mean, fascinating Ole Miss season. Pitching staff looks extremely talented. Was there any, obviously the last 2 years weren't what people hoped, but Rebs off to a promising start. Was there pressure going into this year? What's the mindset going into the season?
Yeah, I mean, when you throw on the Ole Miss uniform, there's pressure, with how much history there is with it, and how much success Ole Miss has had. But I don't think any added pressure because of the past couple of years. It happens sometimes. We had some big injuries, myself included. But shoot, last year we had our Friday night guy going into the year, got hurt the week before the season. A lot of years have enough depth to where that doesn't kill you, but it kind of has recently. And we just weren't able to kind of win some tight ball games that we thought we should win in the past few years. But no, it hasn't added any pressure. We have enough pressure on us, so we don't need any extra added pressure.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be hard. Just I thought about that just for yourself, personally. How hard has that been? Just you basically missed 2 years. You had an incredible freshman year, and now you have all these expectations. How hard is that to not be dude, I have to be the guy. I'm the Friday guy. Seriously, that's got to be so hard.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I wish I had the secret sauce to tell you how I deal with it. I guess I just don't really feel it. I don't feel like the pressure of the world or the pressure of Ole Miss or the University of Mississippi is on my shoulders. It's the thing that I love to do the most is go out there and toe the rubber. So I'm not really thinking about any of that out there. I'm trying to get out number one and go from there. If you pitch with those expectations and those things, man, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah. I mean, I've been the same way in the sense that if I ever put any more added pressure on myself, it's
Right.
not going to do it. It's not going to do you any good. But you've always kind of been like that in general of just I know I'm good without being cocky. I know I'm going to be really good and I'm going to produce and I'm going to be really valuable to this team. So I didn't expect you to have any problems with that, but I just was curious just to see where you're at.
Yeah, I think I think a big thing with that is just knowing your preparation and kind of how hard you've worked to get to where you are. I mean, putting extra pressure just doesn't do you any good. You put in the work, you're prepared, you've done everything you possibly can, and setting yourself up for success.
Absolutely.
I have a question. So you had such a long path back because, I know you had the UCL injury in 2023. You tried to come back LSU weekend and then shut it down. During that whole process, I mean, I'm not close to the situation, but I thought you were headed for pro ball. How much did you debate going to the draft versus coming? What made you decide to come back to Oxford?
Yeah, that was a big part of my last summer, I guess. 2024 summer, it was, man, I was juggling a lot of things. Ole Miss had just hired a new pitching coach, so I was trying to kind of feel him out, get an idea kind of what his philosophies and stuff were. Talking with pro teams a lot, having meetings every couple of days. So yeah, I mean that was a big decision I had to make this summer. What I've told a lot of people is that I just felt like my time here wasn't done. I had such a good first year. And then we had super high expectations going into the next year, and I got injured, and I just felt like the next couple of years, the program kind of hadn't gone to where I had seen it and had wanted it to be. So I just felt like it wasn't my time to leave, and God hadn't called me to be done with Oxford, Mississippi yet. So that kind of was the end all be all with my decision.
That's awesome.
So what's the thing I'm fascinated about? You went through so much to get back. I mean, you basically lost 2 full years. What's that? Just how frustrating that is to be away, not being able to be out there helping your team, and how long you had to work on rehabbing and surgery. How do you deal with that mentally? Because that seems like it's a lot.
Yeah, it really is. It's tough. I think that's where just having a good support system kind of comes into play. Your teammates, your family at home, your girlfriend, things like that. Having people that really care about you and have your best interests in mind. It's the first time that I had missed any type of time in the game since 8 years old maybe. I'd never really had any major injuries. If I did, I had an arm injury, but I was still able to hit and play the field. It just wasn't pitching. But yeah, I mean, it was tough because you're so used to the competitive juices flowing and being able to go out there every so often and compete, that losing that for 18, 20 months is super tough. And coming in every day to freaking training room and lifting some 2-pound weights gets pretty old pretty quick. So you just have to, for me, it was just finding ways to where I could compete and stuff. Could I beat somebody in chess, or could I play poker or something like that, just to get some competitive juices flowing. What was kind of what helped me through it. And then once you get to throwing it, you kind of keep seeing things like, oh, I get to throw change ups off flat ground here soon, or, oh, I get to finally touch the mound, so it gets a little easier through there. But yeah, you're right. I missed a lot of time and it was really tough.
I also have a question about 2023 because, you didn't know you needed Tommy John at that time, and you tried to come back that LSU series in April, and you mentioned you weren't right. How much did y'all think about just shutting it down for the year? Because Ole Miss we're kind of out of contention. Rebels were kind of out of contention at that point. Did you really want to come back, or did y'all debate shutting it down? Because I know that was a big debate that year.
Yeah, you're right. The thing was, I went to Dallas to see Dr. Meister, I guess a week or so after the initial injury. Got all the images done and everything. Met with him, and he said, "Look, if you were my son, I would tell you that you don't need surgery." He was like, "You need to try and rest this thing, rehab it, and come back in a timely manner." So that's what I did, and I was feeling really good. Had rested for, 3-4 weeks, not touching a ball, then had a super slow ramp up and everything felt good. My bullpens, I was throwing hard. Live BPs and everything were going smooth. And then I thought I was ready for the game and I just wasn't. I kind of got into the heat of competition and it came right back. And kind of the next day I knew that, I need to go back to the doctor and reevaluate this thing. It was never like Ole Miss is out of contention, let's not throw. If you can sneak into the SEC tournament, you're always in contention. Win a few games and you're right there in a regional. So that was never a thought in my mind.
And did you get? I can't remember. Did you get pulled out of that game because you got hurt, or was it like afterwards? You're like, hey, this isn't right.
No, I was after. I didn't.
That's what I thought.
Didn't really let anybody know. I was like, man, I've worked so hard. I'm gonna tough through this. Yeah. My elbow is not feeling good, but I mean, what's gonna happen? I'll tear my UCL. It's
like, all right,
I'm heading for surgery. So maybe
That's
that
fair.
might have been a selfish thing. But
I don't think so.
I did it. So no, I didn't get pulled because of that. I had an extremely bad start, possibly because my elbow was hurting.
No, we're gonna definitely say it was because of that.
That was one of the worst starts.
But all right, so I know obviously maybe not everybody knows. All right, let's go with just the physical side of rehab. People don't understand how monotonous it can be, and you have to do it every single day. And like you were saying, you're doing 2-pound weights that to you feel like it's the dumbest thing in the world, but then it's eventually going to get you better. From just the physical side, what is your normal day-to-day in the beginning of rehab? What's that like for people that don't know?
Yeah, the beginning of rehab is super slow, man. The first, 2 or 3 weeks, you're taking your elbow out of the brace and you're doing this. You're all right.
You can't even straighten it yet. It hurts.
So, I mean, realistically, what can you do? And then you're doing shoulder shrugs, 3x20 and with no weight. There's nothing in your hand. You're trying to get to where you can move again. And then there's so many steps, but you go into doing 5 million eyes, Ys, and Ts with 2-pound weights and it's long and it's tough, but man, you learn a lot. You know, you learn how to be consistent. You learn just so much that baseball is a game of just doing the same thing over and over, especially as a pitcher. You know, there's only so much you can do. But yeah, the Tommy John process kind of teaches you that you just can't get bored with stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's brutal. Like, I've been through it, obviously, and it sucks. But that's another thing that's, you know, people always say, oh, he has TJ, he's going to come back and throw harder. I'm just like, well, that's not necessarily the case. Like, it's not always like that. It's more so your rehab, or maybe, you know, you got stronger because you were doing rehab. It's not because you had surgery. Like, the surgery is not the one thing that's doing it. But at what point, like, mentally, because people battle with this of like, okay, I know my elbow is good, but mentally, like, it just doesn't feel right. Like, when did you finally get over that hump of, all right, I'm good, I feel great, I'm going to throw 100% now?
Man, for me, it was a long time.
Yeah.
Because
you had gone for so long without throwing. Like, it's
right.
Yeah.
I was into the bullpens. I was kind of throwing my first live BPs, and I was like, golly, man, is this thing right? I was like, it sure doesn't feel right. But I think it's just learning that it's kind of the new normal. And then once you get over that, you're just kind of you're able to recover better. The mental stress is gone. You know, going to sleep every night, like, man, am I going to get back to how I used to be? Everybody says you get better after the surgery. I sure don't feel better. But yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly what point. I think somewhere into this fall, when I was kind of in a routine of throwing 6 days, throwing again, you know, kind of when I felt like I was just back part of the pitching staff after I was done being excluded and being like a rehab guy. I felt like that's, and some people it's so much sooner, you know. Some people it's 8 months before they get on the mound, they're like, man, my elbow's good, you know. But yeah, I don't know exactly when, but that's a big hurdle you have to overcome, and one that took me a while.
Yeah.
Do you feel, so the post Tommy John, now that you're 100%, like, what do you feel different, the same? You said your velocity's up. Like how different is it than pre?
Yeah, I mean, pre-surgery, it feels much better now. It wasn't feeling good there early on before surgery. But yeah, I mean, I feel much stronger. I think over the Tommy John rehab kind of process, I cleaned up my diet and started eating better, so my body feels better. I got much stronger. Like, I really hit the weight room hard, especially kind of this summer and into the fall. So I'm much stronger. But no, I mean, I don't really feel anything with the elbow. The elbow feels good. I don't know if it feels exactly like it used to, but it feels good and ready to go each week when I head out there.
Hell yeah. Well, okay, looking back on, I have to talk about 2022, having both of y'all here. When you went 5-0 and won 5, you and Dylan won 5 games each in that tournament. I mean, it was like literally just automatic when y'all walked out during the tournament. The games y'all two pitched, Ole Miss was a combined 10-0 in the NCAA tournament. Wow. I mean, what was that like? It was just like, it was insane to watch.
Yeah, I actually didn't know that. I never really thought about that, but yeah, I mean,
come on.
We only lost 1 game. It's not like I was like,
so you knew you were undefeated. What are you talking about?
I didn't know me and DeLucia threw every game. I mean, I knew I didn't lose. Don't get me wrong there. But no, it was good. I mean, I don't know. Baseball's weird. When you kind of get the momentum rolling, it's hard to stop, especially with a team like that and an offense like that, man. They were so good. It really was easy to pitch with them having your back like that. I think I don't know. You just get into late season form and everything's kind of clicking and you have no restrictions. Your pitch counts, whatever it is, and you're just ready to go. I mean, I can't really explain it, but I mean, that team, we had so much confidence going into each game, knowing we were going to win, that you just never had really any thought of losing. Losing didn't really seem like a possibility.
Yeah, that's the coolest part. Is like, people will ask like, "Oh, when did you guys know?" or you know, how were y'all able to make this run? I'm like, I wish I could tell you, but it's baseball. Like, there's no good answer for it besides we just decided one day we're gonna win it. We're gonna win the whole thing.
Yeah. What was your fate of all those games? I mean, obviously you pitched the closeout game against Oklahoma. You know, of all those games, you know, dominated at Southern Miss, went through the Miami Regional. I mean, I remember the Arkansas game, the second game in Omaha, you pitched when Ole Miss just absolutely opened the can on them.
Yeah.
That Monday night, of any particular favorite games or memories from that?
No, I have some favorite memories. I think probably my favorite overall was the regional early on. Actually, it was a very vintage, like Peyton said. I think I walked the bases loaded in the first. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, what am I going to do? Like, I can't hit the broadside of a barn right now. Like, how am I supposed to throw it over this 17-inch plate, you know? So I was able to get out of that. I punched out the side somehow. And that's kind of one of my favorite moments.
That was against Miami in game 2.
Yeah, against Miami, winners bracket game where we needed to win. And I was like, oh gosh, I really probably don't need to blow this early in the game. So let's lock it in and try and throw this thing over the middle of the plate. But yeah, the Southern Miss one was probably my best outing, you know, deepest into the game. But no, they were all super cool. I think it was like a build, you know, it was kind of weird. You go to the regional and then the suspense and everything just kind of builds, and the games slowly but surely get bigger and bigger. And it was really fun.
I'm like 90% sure you were pitching when the Southern Miss guy hit the grand slam that was like that far foul. That was you, right?
That was DeLucia.
Oh, that was DeLucia. Okay, you pitched game 1. Okay.
Yeah, no,
I just knew it was in the second game, so I thought you.
That ball was without a doubt foul. It wasn't even close.
that right when that ball
it wasn't even
foul,
close.
Right when that ball
not even close.
Right when that ball went foul, I knew it was Ole Miss's year. I was like, dude, it's
no.
Year.
I'll tell you when I thought it was our year is whenever we were playing in that regional and they put the scores of all the other games up there and it said Tennessee lost. I was like, oh my gosh, we're gonna win this whole thing. Like, Tennessee's out, we have a chance.
Dude, that Tennessee team was unreal.
I know. I said that last week. I was like, that's the most talented team I've ever seen. Ever.
Right. We were, I think, talking about it in the locker room or something. I was like, dude, they had Chase Dolander, Chase Burns, and Drew, freshman of the year, SEC freshman of the year. Drew Beam was their Sunday guy. Mm-hmm. Man, when they came into Oxford, it was like, all right.
Oh, gosh. Wow. I remember I think it was Coach B or maybe it was Coach Clem. He was maybe getting onto the hitters. But it was Drew Gilbert early on Friday. He scores from maybe a double or something like that. And we're playing at Swayze. And he goes, he touches home, and he looks at all our fans. He's, we're going to be here all effing weekend. And I was like, oh, no, we're done. This is it for us.
Right. What happened? So it was like a 1-versus-1 matchup. And we were like, we were 1 and some, they were 1 and some. And then Gaddis goes out and punches out the side in the first. We're like, oh, that's right.
Like, all right.
We're here. Didn't get out the second, I don't think. That was when Gilbert did that. And I tell people that story all the time, that he came like right up to our dugout, like right there at the front row of the stands, and was like, yeah, we're going to be here all weekend. I was like, okay. And
like, all right. And they were. And they were all weekend.
All weekend.
that Tennessee team, I thought they were like, it's like everyone always needs a villain in sports.
Yeah.
They're one of the greatest. That 2022 Tennessee team was one of the greatest heel teams that's like ever played the sport. Yeah. It was just, I remember when they got knocked out by Notre Dame, like the entire world was
awesome. It was the best feeling.
They I remember I can't remember, I think it was Beck. Dude, it was something every weekend with him. He rounded first.
When he flipped off, yeah.
He was going to second base, double birding the outfilders, and we're like,
could you imagine if we did that? Could you imagine what he would do?
No, I can't. I can't imagine that even going through your head, like hitting a double and just double birding the outfield.
It wasn't even a homer. Like, he didn't pimp the homer or anything. It was a double. Like, yeah, good hit, but come on.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
There's a couple good stories with that team, man. They were unbelievable, but like for some reason they couldn't get it done. And that's where I'm like, I don't know why we won. I don't know. We were just we were better for some reason. They honestly probably had more talented guys, but just couldn't get it done. I don't know.
No doubt.
Well, that run, I mean, that was the most fun. Just as a fan, that was the most fun thing I've ever been seen. I mean, I can't even imagine the roles y'all played on it. What are you excited? So now that you're done with the first game, you pitching again on Friday this weekend?
Yep. Throwing again Friday against Eastern Kentucky.
It's gonna be a tough one.
Yeah.
I shouldn't joke about it because now it's gonna be.
No,
now
you
it's
never
gonna
say
be.
that. You gotta.
Yeah,
You gotta,
that's my
especially
fault.
these
That's
games,
my fault.
You gotta take them like they're about to win the national championship. You know, it's gonna be a wet, cold one here at Swayze. We might have to move it up or something. Middle of the day Friday game that Eastern Kentucky's gonna come to play, and we're gonna have to kind of match it. You know.
The funny thing actually is though, like I joke, but those are the hardest games to play. Like
So
it's
hard.
so much harder. Like, yeah, everybody's fired up because it's game day no matter what. But those are the games where like you just all of a sudden it's the 5th inning, you're like, oh shit, what just happened? We're down 5 runs. Like what?
Right.
Those are the games that are
No,
or
for sure.
game. Get me out of here.
For sure. Especially coming off of a weekend in Arlington or something like that. You know, some games
Yeah,
are
but at least it's at Swayze.
Yeah, right. And it's first game, first opening kind of weekend at Swayze. There'll be a lot of energy. And
bro, I heard that they don't have like the frat dudes going out in left field anymore and then coming across to right.
No,
What the?
I don't know what happened. I
Really?
was telling somebody too.
Yeah.
It was like the coolest thing ever.
Yes.
The dudes were there like Monday morning and just stayed there all week, all night, all the time. And
it was so
we
cool.
like went and brought them donuts and stuff like that.
Pizza
I was
and
like,
beer and whatnot. Yeah.
I think it had to do something with like liability with.
Well, what happened? I remember they maybe it was 21 or 20, whatever it was. They like all rushed at once, and then people were getting trampled, and it was this big ordeal. But I'm still like, okay, at least let them camp out, and then first come, first serve. Like that's the coolest part about it, man. I love that.
No doubt. Yeah, the chairs are just set up out there.
Yeah.
And
Coach B would let like a couple of them get a little tour. They'd hit BP and stuff. I'm like, that's so awesome for these guys.
Yeah, I thought so too. I don't think it wasn't Coach B. It had to have been the university that did something like that.
We'll talk to Keith. We'll talk to Keith about that one.
Yeah. We'll loop him in.
I'm in a big group. There's a lot of city grocery crew. We're in the left center, the flagpole in left center, and we always are like 50 deep, grilling out and do it big. I mean, the left field Swayze thing. It's like maybe my favorite place to be in America. The vibes of it.
Yeah, no, left field's cool. The whole atmosphere, the whole stadium's super cool. I remember I don't even know when they were planning on, but they were planning on doing kind of a renovation and making it a little different to where I guess like go around the whole concourse, you know?
I think they're still going to do it eventually. It's just going to take a while.
Yeah.
They're going to have an indoor out and right, like behind right there where those tennis courts are. It's going to be an indoor
Arkansas
facility.
Or one of those.
So sick.
Yeah, it would be.
Arkansas's field's nice.
Yeah.
All right.
That's one of the only ones I hadn't been to. I need to get the bomb.
Really?
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Oh, you got to get there. Place is sick.
You grew up in Tupelo. Have you always been an Ole Miss fan? Was that like always what you wanted to do was come play at Ole Miss?
Yeah. I grew up an Ole Miss fan. Mom and dad both went here. My sister went here. It was kind of no brainer for me. You know, it actually, funny enough, was my first offer. You know, I came on a visit here. I had a visit planned somewhere else, and I didn't wait like 3 days or so. I was like, all right, yep, I'm committed.
Really?
Canceled the other visit, and it was the only visit I took. It was the only offer I had.
I was about to say, so you didn't have any other offers? You didn't need them?
No. It was my freshman year, so like it was just kind of kicking up. But Ole Miss called and came on a visit and was like, all right, done with this process.
That's awesome. Dang, you committed early. Nowadays, you can't even do that.
No, they changed the rules.
Crazy about it. But that's cool, man.
That must have played. The fact you grew up diehard Ole Miss that played a role in you deciding you wanted to come back too. Just love Oxford and the Rebs.
Yeah. I felt like I wasn't done. You know, if I had left, I was leaving the program in a worse spot than kind of I came here and how the program was when I came here. So, and I just really didn't want to do that, you know? So that was a huge factor though. Like super close to home, grew up a fan and just wasn't happy with how the past couple of years went.
Peyton, you have any more? Do you have any more questions from your Twitter?
Yeah, if we clip that video, everybody's gonna come from my head and say, "Oh, look, he stayed. He didn't." Oh yeah.
Yeah, right. If you transfer, you're horrible. That's kind of what pretty much.
Whatever, bro. Yeah, I got a ton of Twitter questions. We'll get through some of these. We don't have to get through all of them, but
pick a few of them for you.
Austin here wants to know the toughest out you've had to face.
Okay. Well, the best hitter I would say is Dylan Cruz. It was
Fair.
definitely the toughest out because I faced him when I wasn't healthy. So I'll go with Dylan Cruz. He's the toughest hitter. I mean, there just really wasn't anywhere to throw him. I think I threw him a changeup down and away, and he hit it over the center field wall, and I was like, man, I really don't know what I was supposed to do there.
I mean, he's a really, really good baseball player.
Yeah, incredible.
Okay, I mean, they're basically asking about the new coaches we got, but it says, Hunter, I know it's early, but the Rebel pitching looks really good so far. Do you think having a new pitching coach has been the difference? I mean,
yeah, it's we all are kind of learning his ways still. It's early on, and we've been pretty good. We've got a lot of stuff we need to work on. We're still adapting. We need to cut down on the walks. We've still walked a few too many people. We need to buy into kind of his philosophy a little more. Our first pillar in the kind of overall everything that he teaches is generating strikes, and I personally I got to do a little better job of it. But we've done pretty good so far, and I think we're just kind of scratching the surface. We got to continue to buy into really what he wants us to do, and I think we're going to be great.
Perfect. This one, I kind of already asked this. Was it more difficult physically or mentally to get to the point where you felt, now I'm back?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I think for me, they kind of they went together. Like if I was feeling good, my mental state was pretty good. If I wasn't feeling good, I wasn't good mentally. So I don't know. I would say once I mentally freed myself up, what was when the physical aspect of it kind of came along much easier, and I wasn't freaking out every time it was just feeling a little off, or a little different than it used to when I was healthy. So I would say the mental state came back quicker, and I was able to impact the physical state in that way.
People don't understand how hard it is, like mentally, to get back to that.
Right.
Sheen here has asked, has Ole Miss stopped throwing sliders?
Yeah.
You developed a new breaker.
Yeah. I've got a new breaker. I only threw it 4 times against Arizona. So I guess that's a good thing. Like I didn't really have to use it. But no, we haven't stopped throwing sliders. We love the slider. We may not throw it as much as we used to. But no, I think we're just kind of, like I said, we're trying to establish the fastball. We're trying to generate strikes early on right now, and kind of form our identity as a pitching staff as a whole. But no, we haven't stopped throwing the slider. No. One of the best pitches in baseball. You can't.
You can't. If they got rid of those sliders, I wouldn't be talking to you here. I'd still be playing ball.
That's right. The whole spinning one was Peyton's.
I could hit the straight one pretty good. It was like once it really started spinning, then I just, for whatever reason, it would just
moving just a tad.
Yeah, I hate when they would try to get me out. That would always make me so mad.
That's my favorite thing that hitters do. They're like, dude, this dude's super scared of me. He won't throw me a fastball. I'm like, you can't hit the side.
That's the dumbest thing.
We're trying to get you out. We're not trying to let you hit the ball. Like,
I would hate that.
Doesn't make sense why we would throw you the ball that you hit really well.
We had a guy, I'm not going to say who, but we had a guy, and he would get just fed off-speed pitches, and he would come back in the dugout. Man, this guy's so soft. This guy's so scared. He won't throw me a single fastball. And I'm like, bro, you just swung at 3 of them in the dirt. Like, what is he supposed to do here? Here's a cookie. Here you go.
Yeah, you're right, man. What am I thinking? Man. Trying to get you out,
Yeah.
Here you go. Here's the fastball. Hopefully you hit it 450, and I look like an idiot then.
Exactly. It's so whatever. I got a couple more, but we'll just do maybe 2 more here. Michael Spears wants to know, why do they call you Dumpy?
Yeah. So it started my freshman year. So I can't remember who started it. I think it was Jack Doherty.
I was about to say it's probably Doherty.
But it was kind of a running thing that I had a big ass. And it was just kind of dumpy back there. So he started that, and it's just kind of stuck.
Yeah. I mean, because what people don't quite understand is how do I say this the right way? A baseball locker room can get very intimate at times, maybe, or there's no judgment. Everybody's just free in the baseball locker room. It's a very strange space to be in. So if I had to take a guess, Doherty was the one that did it, and it was for a funny reason.
Yeah.
The only other one, this one's, I mean,
it sounds like you need a dude wipe sponsorship.
Damn right. You know what? I will complain. That would be maybe my biggest complaint about Swayze is the toilet paper in there could not be worse. I mean, it is sandpaper. It hurts. So maybe that's what we need. We need dude wipes inside of Swayze.
All right, we might make that happen.
We need to talk to
dude wipes. Give me an NIL deal.
They're big Barstool sponsors for sure.
Yeah.
All right. I'm in.
All right, I think that's good. I mean, a lot of these are, what shampoo and conditioner are you using?
Yeah, I don't even. I order it from Target. My sister had it one time when I visited her house in Hernando and made the hair look good, and I was like, all right, let's start ordering this. So that's what I use. I don't even know the name of it. It's not like Head and Shoulders, so I don't need a Head and Shoulders sponsorship or anything.
No Head and Shoulders, no Old Spice. That's what I would do if I were you. Oh yeah, I love it. Give me
Love
some
Head and Shoulders.
Last thing I got, vibes had to be good for the Rebs leaving Arlington, winning 2 out of 3. That Sunday, the Sunday effort was spectacular against Clemson off the Texas loss. I mean, seems like about 2 out of 3 against top 25 competition. Really good stuff.
No, the vibes were extremely high. I think we have kind of a motto this year that is shower well, and it's kind of you want to try and shower well after big wins because you got another one in 12, 15 or so hours, and I think we showered really well after that Texas loss. It would have been easy to come out flat and come out feeling defeated, but I think signs of a really good team is that you're able to bounce back after big losses or blowout losses, and also come back and win another big game after a big win. So the vibes were high, and we're super happy with the win yesterday. Those games are tricky, and then they're kind of trap games sometimes. So happy to come out with a win there, and we're really excited going into this weekend.
That's probably something that people don't like. Everybody talks about from a hitter standpoint of oh, it's so hard if you have a bad day because you have to go back up there again tomorrow. But from the pitching side, I mean, you shut. So I'm not saying this about you, but if you don't do well, then you have to sit on it for a whole week. That's the worst part is then you I don't know, getting over that would be so much harder because at least in hitting you've got whatever, you can go 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts, but the next day you can go 2 for 3 and feel great. In pitching, you can't do that. So
no, it's especially as a starting pitcher, you want to have good outings for the next week. It fires you up if you have a bad outing and you just have to sit on it for 6 days. But no, you're right. It's much easier to shower it off and get back at it and get back on the horse the next day as a hitter.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I just want to say thanks to Hunter and Peyton, Hunter Elliott, ace of the Friday night guy for the Ole Miss Rebels, back after 2 long years. Man, hero of the national championship team in 2022. Really appreciate you giving us time, and very much looking forward to following the season and your journey.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on, and it was a pleasure talking to you guys.
Absolutely. Appreciate you, my boy.
Please like and subscribe, boys, and y'all take it easy.